Welcome back to another episode of How Did They Grow? I created this podcast because I wanted you to learn how other coaches, freelancers, service providers, and course sellers are growing their business, landing 10 to 20 new clients every single month, paying them 50, 100, 200K months. See, if they've done it, you can too. And that's just the reality. And I want you to listen to these podcasts to understand what strategies are they using, what techniques are they exploring, because it's in these gems that you can apply it to your business and actually scale things up. When you're ready and you feel like you actually want to learn practical, proven methodologies, or even you want to hire a team that can build you a profitable personal brand, book in a chat with our team because we can guarantee you go viral and guarantee you get clients for your business.
Welcome to the show, guys. This is the How Did They Grow podcast, and today we have on Coach AK. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing good. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it, man.
Amazing. Tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into it.
Ooh, the easiest question in the whole entire world. My name is AK, or Coach AK. I actually go by AK Kwakor. I'm Nigerian American, and I was born in Arvada, Colorado, but now currently here in Los Angeles. And I'm the CEO of a company called LeadLift and The Next Right Move. We're a data and analytics platform to measure human performance.
A data analytics platform to measure human performance. Those are a lot of big words.
A lot of big words.
A lot of big words. Kind of break that down in 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
In human language, right? So when most people look at it, especially in the coaching world, let's use it in other domains. So for example, we're like Whoop, but for your whole entire life. And so let's look at the sports world.
You're like what?
We're like Whoop. Whoop. It's like Whoop? We'll say Whoop or the Apple Watch, but for your whole entire life. So what Whoop does is that it's able to measure performance or recovery or sleep, but from a data-driven approach. So let's look at an example. If I might ask you, hey, Mike, how did you sleep last night?
I slept maybe 3-4 hours.
Okay, 3 or 4 hours. But how was that sleep? Was it good sleep?
It was good.
Okay, it was good. But let's say I'm looking at the data and we're able to track it, and we were able to measure your heart rate. We were able to measure how long you're in REM sleep and say, hey, I know you slept good, but did you know that between the hours of 4 to 6, you were tossing and turning, and you actually got your deepest sleep from 6 to 7 a.m. Right? So it's not just using it on guesswork. We're basically saying is we actually have data and analytics to show how your sleep cycle was. Okay? So we do the same thing, but instead we are doing it in the areas of, we'll say, human performance. We're able to identify patterns and algorithms to understand how people are showing up personally in their relationships and in their work. And so we can determine based on data and analytics to say, hey, we know that every single time that you, let's say, do this 15-minute meditation, how it affects your relationships, how it affects your work. And we can even be able to determine if you continue to do this, how it will affect you 24 to 48 to even 72 hours in the future. So we're able to determine based on actual data and analytics about how people are actually showing up in different ways of their life. And the whole goal is to how do we optimize the way we're showing up personally, professionally, and also within our relationships with precise data and precision.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And how, let me kind of pick your brain. Were you always this kind of guy in terms of entrepreneur, code, and tech and all that? Or was this something you transitioned into?
So I was a former professional athlete. I ran track and field at the University of Oregon, and then was lucky to travel on the European circuit for my parents' home country of Nigeria. So I would say I've always been in the realm of, we'll say, human performance, or even like sports performance. You're always trying to get better than you were the day before. But I also say something that's pretty unique is that I'm a triplet. So I have a twin brother. So I have a twin brother and a twin sister, meaning that I literally share my DNA with another person on this planet. Realizing that even though I shared my DNA with another person on this planet, we weren't the same exact person. We had our own ways we navigated through the world, have different hobbies, still some similarities, but we're very, very different. So from very, very early on, I've always wondered about the value of personalization, right? Because my whole life people are saying, hey, you're your brother, you're all the same person. No, no, no. The way that I navigate through the world is very different than someone else navigates through the world. So combining my sports background, me being a triplet in terms of the understanding the event, the importance of personalization, and then coaching through sports and helping other people because people have always helped me. And then I recently jumped into the data world because I was working at Google for 3 years and I helped them in their go-to-market strategy when they launched Gemini. And so my job was to help build out the executive sales coaching program with a team of some phenomenal individuals. And what we were seeing is how humans can use tech to enhance the human experience, especially on the sales side. So people really want to know, kind of understand what this looks like in practice. So what Google does a lot is in the AI space. And so just as much as, Google's helping people determine what their next ad they're going to click on is, or Netflix might determine the next show you're going to watch, we reverse engineered it and now can determine how humans are going to perform before it even happens with extreme precision.
Makes sense.
And and I can understand the reason why this is kind of weird with a lot of people is because this technology doesn't exist right now. So it's like trying to understand something that currently doesn't exist in the market. And a lot of the times we're looking at this in the coaching realm, like, oh, wow, this is weird, this is new. But the study shows that roughly like 3% of coaches and practitioners use any type of data and analytics in their coaching practice. And literally no one uses predictive analytics or AI. We're like one of the only companies in the world to do this. Now, the reason why this isn't so new is because this is what the sports world and the finance world have been using for decades. So almost imagine trying to evaluate an athlete without having game film.
Yeah.
How hard would that be if you could never watch replay or game film? Like, are you a sports guy?
Yeah, I watch a lot of NBA, yeah.
Watch a lot of NBA. Imagine about trying to, evaluate a player or scout a player, but you didn't have any game footage on how they played. Like, how challenging would it be?
Man, it would be tough. Imagine trying to predict what Kyrie would do.
Exactly. But the reason why we can predict it is because we've seen, let's say Steph Curry, like, hey, why should we give the game ball to, the last game shot to Steph Curry? Well, because through data and analytics, through patterns that we've seen, consistency, he's always shown up. Versus, imagine if he said, hey, y'all, give me the ball because I think I can make this three-pointer. And you've never seen the guy play. But when you actually see the guy play and you see him time and time again in clutch situations perform, it gives you what? An increase of confidence that individual will be able to actually perform when the game is on the line.
Amazing. This is all amazing. And I can definitely see it and picture it. Couple questions. One question is like, what industry are you looking to break into with this technology? Is it sports? Is it tech? Is it sales? What is that?
Yeah, so we are breaking it into two different industries. The first one is obviously the coaching space, the coaching and therapy space, and the practitioners. Okay. Because what we want to do is, this is where the world is going. It's becoming much more data-driven, becoming much more AI-driven. And our goal is that we do not want to replace coaches, right? A lot of the technology out there right now is trying to replace humans. But I got advice very early on, and I believe this wholeheartedly, that it needs to be humans using tech to enhance humans. And it can't be tech using humans to make better tech. So our software, our tools, and our resources that we're using is to go hand in hand with the human to use technology to increase or enhance the coaching engagement. And whether that's coaching a human to become a better business leader, or coaching to make a better athlete, or just coaching someone just to help them just navigate through their day, that's where we're using technology as a big play. But mainly we work in the area of what we call in the high stakes industries.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just guess the question's like, what is a high stakes industry? Well, the high stakes industry is an industry or a profession or an individual that if they do not do a good job, That's going to be the difference between their company completely going under, the loss of reputation, or something really negative happening. So oftentimes we work with CEOs, private equity, can work with high stakes, lawyers, or even in the medical field, and also professional athletes and coaches.
Amazing. Couple more questions. How long has this been in the making?
It took us a year to build out the platform. So a large
It's already
team.
built out?
It's built out? Yeah, it already works. It already works relatively well. We already have
You're
clients.
rolling it out?
Yeah, we rolled it out. We rolled it out officially last week, but we've already been doing betas for the past 6 months. And so we've been able to get a lot of data from over 3,000 different data points to actually identify what actually creates high performers. And we actually have the data to prove it.
Amazing. I think this is kind of an amazing segue since you've already rolled it out. Let's transition into social media and how you are marketing this product and marketing the whole lead lift, you called it, right? What's the plan? What are you doing right now to market your product?
So I've always believed to market a product, you can't just put it all into one. So we have everything from strategic partnerships with like other coaching companies. We have strategic partnerships with a company called IQPC. They have access to over 100,000 people in the HR, CRO space, Chief Resource Officer space, where we did a industry report for our 6-month study to identify like what is actually the thing that's causing leaders not to show up their best. And that is through a lot of trying to overcome burnout and work-life balance. So we did a study collectively on that one with them. We also are going through, obviously, the ads platform to really target leaders and individuals that are in that space that most likely need a very much more data-driven approach to holistic leadership. 3, I do have a partnership deal with LinkedIn. So we do a lot of videos, a lot of partnerships with LinkedIn on courses to help them just better understand, what is causing us not to show up our best? How do we actually coach ourselves to high performance? How do we actually be able to create grit and persistency? And so these are a lot of the different ways that we're just using to push out and leverage the brand.
Amazing. Are you doing anything mainstream on social media? LinkedIn is obviously for, the corporate world. What about like your personal brand and building that? Is there anything?
Yeah. I mean, Alex Hormozi always talks about it. I believe
I was going to mention it.
Yeah. So I've been growing for years, I've been growing, my own personal brand as Coach AK. So posting on my own personal brand on Instagram, on LinkedIn, in the process of, having my own podcast that we're rolling out. I've done a few beforehand, but now rolling out specifically in this space. And then also just within the platforms like Instagram, I post consistently on there to just give people a name to a face to the brand, building a relationship with them, not just a company relationship, but who are the people behind the scenes that are helping build this out completely.
Amazing.
I hope you're enjoying this podcast. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're learning so much practical wisdom because that's what I really wanted from this podcast. Now, I just want to quickly say, if you're looking for a team that can actually help you explode and go viral with your personal brand with proven methodologies, I say this because I've been doing this for the past 5 years. We've got a team of 30 people who are ready to go ahead and explode your brand so you can get clients begging to work with you. Have a chat with one of our advisors. You can book in a chat using one of the links around this video because that chat might just change your life.
Let me kind of understand your strategy with Instagram. Do you do a lot of, the stuff you do on Instagram, is it generally to get clients? Because that's mostly what, a lot of people in the audience is what we do with our clients. So like, is that similar to what you do?
It's both. I think you have to be able to do a lot of things. You have to educate your clients. You have to think about consideration. You have to also think about this, obviously the solution. I think at the end of the day, whenever you're bringing out a new product, it's about, first you have to educate your clients. You have to let them know that sometimes they may not even know the problem exists or that they're suffering from the problem.
Exactly.
And then the next one is, they're obviously, when they understand that there's a challenge that they've now become aware to them, it now comes to be, well, they have a lot of different avenues that they can look at in terms of products, right? Or solutions that they're looking for. This is where they start to go through the consideration phase.
Yeah.
And they might be like, well, I know I have a problem of not, looking the way that I want to look like in a bathing suit, right?
Yep.
Well, I could decide, well, I can go to the gym, or I could do this weight loss plan, or I can get this nutrition plan, or I can get this personal trainer, or I can take this pill, right? So once they're educated that they have a problem, then it's looking like, what are all the different solutions that they can consider? And the next point is like, but why should they consider you? And this is what allows you to identify, well, out of all the different products in the market, and I look at this from the perspective of, imagine there is 100 companies offering something similar to you. What's going to be that thing that causes them to step forward and say, I want to know more? So I look at it that way. What's that USP? What's that unique selling proposition that they want to consider you over anybody else? And especially the biggest challenge is when it first starts, they don't know who you are. If they don't know who you are, they don't trust you. And everybody's selling them something. So you have to be able to build something of trust, because if they don't trust you, I don't care how good your offer is, because everybody in the world is selling that their solution is going to be the best and the greatest and it's innovative and it's going to get you the results the fastest. So that's why you can't just go out to someone and say, buy, buy, buy. They're like, I don't even know you. It's like going on a first date. You're asking for a marriage. You're asking to go home with me. I don't even know you. So you have to build that trust, because if you don't build that trust, and what I talked about oftentimes is there's trust and there's different ways of marketing. Oftentimes you talk about brand marketing, we talk about affiliate marketing, but I think actually the most important marketing that nobody talks about is perception marketing. The most important one is perception marketing. And this is what everybody should know, but what nobody talks about. And I think you're waiting. You're sitting there like, what's perception marketing? So I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example of what perception marketing is. So perception marketing, brand marketing is the message you got into the world. That's what you're going to do in your copy. That's going to be your logos. That's going to be your assets that you give out to the world. Affiliate marketing, or reputation, or even say reputation, right? Might be somebody's referring about you, someone's talking about you, or PR. That's what oftentimes PR is, what somebody else is saying about you.
Yes.
But the third one that nobody talks about is perception. And I'm going to use an example on this one. So if I go out there, and let's say I'm speaking on a stage, and I say, everybody, I'm an athlete. Some people are going to say, ooh, I played sports in high school. I like this guy. But there's going to be another audience that says, you know what? Jocks, they're the ones that pushed me into the lockers growing up. I hate them.
Yeah.
Right? Same brand message. Same people might have referred. But the perception marketing is what nobody talks about. This is the thing that people are actually making the biggest decisions on. And if we don't understand that, like, how are people when we walk into a room? So an example might be also in the business case, you are selling a product as a company.
Okay.
But a lot has to be determined about, you're selling a product, but who's doing the sales call?
Okay.
Now, if they're doing that sales call and somebody looks at that person like, you know what? I don't like the skin color of that guy. I don't like the gender of that guy. I don't like the look of that person. Right?
Yeah.
No matter how good your product is, they're going to be like, something just feels off. So oftentimes what people don't realize, it's not about your brand, but it's about the perception they're going to have of your brand when they're talking to an individual client. And I say is, who's going to be the most receptive to what you have to say? So if I know that I'm selling a product, and it is a product that's with a female brand, a female mothers, right? Mothers that are busy executives that are trying to get stuff done.
Yeah.
Me going out there trying to talk about being a single mother, trying to hustle, is not going to be as powerful as what on that sales call. Yeah. Another mother that's going through the same experience, because what's going to happen? Exactly. It builds that trust. It builds that receptivity.
Yeah.
Right? So most of the time, what we're doing is we're trying to fight against our natural thing. Instead of like, where are they going to be the most receptive? Start there. And then it's going to build up that trust and receptivity to make it easier to help them go through that sales process. But you're saying something.
Yeah, I was saying like it translates a lot into what we were talking about in terms of marketing and social media. Because like, who's gonna take advice on getting jacked from a fat guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Exactly. So and it all comes down to that no like and trust factor. That trust comes from you putting yourself out there and showing them that you are what you say you are. You actually do go to the gym. You actually, depending on what your expertise is,
yeah,
and bring up sales calls again. When people come on sales calls, when they already know you, they're already pre-sold to your stuff. It's almost like it's like 80% plus from what we've seen in terms of conversion. So just having that perception marketing, as you said, just positioning yourself as that authority and that
Mhm.
go-to guy, it does so much for you and your brand and your actual sales.
Exactly, 100%.
Amazing, amazing. Let me kind of ask you, since you just launched, what would you say are the goals for you and the brand and for Hype Lift? No, is it Hype Lift?
No, lead lift. Yeah, lead lift.
Leap Lift. What would you say is are the goals for you, your brand, and Leap Lift in 2025 in the Q2, Q3, Q4? What are the goals?
Yeah, and I think when people look, I think oftentimes we look at it the wrong way, and we look at it from how do we compete against a company versus how do we change the perception of the industry.
Okay.
Okay. When you compete against companies, it's a tough sell, especially launching, because that other company has more money, more brand recognition, and a lot more trust in the marketplace. But if you compete at the company level versus the market level, it changes completely. What we're saying is, hey, there's only 3% of companies that use any type of data and analytics in the coaching world. Meaning, if you're not using any type of data or analytics or anything like that, it's simply just guesswork. So what we're saying is we're attacking the industry. The industry is outdated. It's old school. Right?
Yeah.
So when you attack, say this, our goal is to change the perception of the industry where if you're thinking about, oh, I actually need a much more data-driven approach. I need a much more precise way of returning my ROI. What are the companies that are actually being able to return an ROI that are actually using data and metrics to determine growth of me or my team? And we're one of the few in the world that are doing it. Versus saying we're a coaching company. Like, no, we're a data-driven coaching company, and only 3% of the market right now that are even doing this. So the goal is,
Yeah.
first one is to become the leader when people are talking about data-driven coaching or ROI-driven coaching or development. Two, the second piece is obviously we have new technology that we brought out. And we developed something called dynamic action-based assessments, or what I call DABA. Now, dynamic
Yeah.
action-based assessments are, if you look at traditional assessments in the coaching space, for example, let's say Myers-Briggs or Enneagram, a lot of those assessments are based on what we call a single source, where you go in there and you fill out a questionnaire and they give you a response. You're an extrovert, you're intuitive, you're, all that, and ENTP, perceptive, all that kind of stuff. But that's based on a single source. Right? Now, with the rise of AI or the rise of people trying to find jobs, people can game that system. They can say, you know what? I actually am an extrovert. Remember that one time I was the life of the party 5 years ago? Yeah, I'm an extrovert. Even though 99% of the time they're at home and they don't like to be around people. So you can game the system. So what we've done with dynamic action-based or DABA is we can now track not based on a single point in time, but a period of time over 30 days, 90 days. And what we're able to determine is not about what you say, but is actually based on what you do. Now, there's a lot of stuff that you can do with this information when you have it. So when you look at this, instead of looking at it as someone's an introvert or an extrovert, we can actually determine from our information and our data that someone might be a 76% extrovert, a 24% introvert, but actually you're 50% introvert at home, but an extrovert at home, or you're an introvert in high crisis management situations. So this is something that was never able to be done before. Now, how this technology is going to change is now we've been able to understand humans in a very much deeper way, where we
Yeah.
can actually be able to now create customized learning paths or create personality profiles based on individuals. And a lot of this stuff, like I said, doesn't exist in the space because you literally
Yes.
really couldn't do this 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So our goal
So
here
what?
is to change the perception of, if you're not using data and analytics, you're old school in the coaching space.
Okay.
If you're still using static assessments, you're losing 90% of the information.
Information.
So information. We also, with our technology, we also give everybody back their data. So while a lot of companies hold on to your data, like a Google or Netflix, they hold on to your data. What we say is we give it back to you. And then we give you a tool to help you analyze your data, because we believe that your data shouldn't be for our profit. It should be for your impact. So we give people full access to their data and tools to give them insights. So much insights that you're actually able to understand your personality performance or your patterns in as little as 4 days. We can actually help you determine what are the things that are holding you back, the things that are helping you succeed the most in as little as 4 days of information, faster than you'll ever see on anywhere on the market.
Amazing. Amazing. Man, I love what you said. I love what you said about, figuring out that strategy, because you were saying you're not trying to compete with the sharks. You're trying to change the waves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. That's kind of an amazing perspective and an amazing strategy. What are some, how do I say, for the sake of the audience, kind of break that down. What are some action steps you're taking in that direction to change the waves, change the narrative?
Well, it's got to be in your marketing. It's got to be in the way that you communicate your product. And the most important thing is you have to be willing to push back against the status quo.
Yes.
You have to be willing to say stuff that not everybody agrees with. You have to be willing to call out the old ways of people doing things. But most of the time, people are saying, I can't call that company out. They're bigger and they're stronger. They have more resources. I'm going to get sued.
Yeah.
You can't play it safe. I learned this tip early on. And someone was telling me when I was doing in the speaking world is you can either be a visionary or you can be a thought leader, and not the same.
Okay. You're not the same.
Right. We say thought leader, some people use like an expert.
Yeah.
Right? Now, when you look at it between a visionary and an expert will be someone that says, hey, here are 5 tips to better SEO. Now, the problem with that is that an expert, but they might be like, another expert, like, well, you know what? I got 6. Someone else might come like, I got 6 tips. Someone else might say, I got 10 tips. And then another person will come down the road and say, you know what? But these are the 3 you really need to know.
Yeah.
A visionary is this. A visionary is saying things that not even ChatGPT has the answer to. Not even Google has the answer to. That
a trailblazer.
Is how you change the game.
A trailblazer.
A trailblazer. You got to be someone that is able to provide information that not even ChatGPT and Google has an answer to.
Amazing. Amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. I think we've kind of come full circle here. Obviously, we're going to get into you and how people can contact you, but what is something you think we missed out on, something you wish I asked you on this podcast?
The biggest thing about building a brand.
What is the biggest thing about building a brand?
The biggest thing about building a brand, I would say, is that there was a study that was done and they identified that 9 people that set a goal on day 1 are able to achieve it a year later. 46% are able to last 30 days and 23% are able to last 1 week. Meaning that when they have an idea, when they're pushing something out, they don't do one thing, and that's stay consistent. So the biggest thing about building a brand isn't about having the best idea, isn't about being the most innovative. It's the one who can be the most consistent. So brand is about who can be the most consistent. And so one person that does this very, very well, whether you like him or not, I'm not truly a fan of the guy, but is Donald Trump.
Who's the guy?
I'm not a fan. Donald Trump, right?
Oh, okay, Trump.
Trump, right? Donald Trump is the guy that does, because if you say it and you say it and you say it and you say it, you say it so much that other people will start saying it and believing it. So a lot of people are expecting that when they go out there once, oh, why aren't I getting the likes? Why aren't I getting the engagement? What's going on here? It's like, no. Just stay consistent.
It's the volume.
It's the volume. And not only the volume is that you're going to be learning. You stay consistent. They keep seeing you. They see being top of mind. And that's it.
Mind, yeah.
It's about being top of mind, because people need to realize that after a while, when you keep on talking about it, and here's the thing that's super important for all the listeners that are especially just starting out,
Yeah.
is just because they did not see it and just because they did not like it, just because someone didn't see it, or I'm actually saying this wrong. I keep saying this wrong. Just because somebody didn't like it doesn't mean they didn't see it. I'm going to say it again.
Yeah.
So all the listeners, I'm going to say it again. Just because someone did not like your post did not mean they did not see it.
Yeah.
Most of the time that I get clients is not because they liked it. It's actually some people that never liked it. They're like, hey, I've been seeing the work you've been putting in. I've been seeing that, mad respect, right? I want to work with you. So
Yeah.
don't get so worried on the likes. Stay consistent, because people are seeing it. They're recognizing your work.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, that's also what having that nurturing system does for you, because someone could be in that funnel for months without even engaging, but they're seeing you and they're saying, okay, this guy knows his stuff. He knows what he's talking about. They're just going to come out of the blue one day and it's like, boom, you got yourself a client of, depending on your offer, 3, 5, 10K. You know what I mean?
And it might not even be them that's liking. It might be them telling a friend that's going through a difficult time and say, hey, this happened to me yesterday. Someone reached out and said, okay, a client of mine's having a really difficult time. And the client may have never even heard of me, may have never even saw my stuff. But that person that saw my stuff is referring them to somebody else to say, hey, there's a guy that I think you could probably resonate well with.
What's his name?
No, what I'm saying is that's what I'm saying. When you're going through the process, is thinking about it from when you stay consistent, your client may not come from the person that's liking or seeing your content. They may actually be a referrer.
Yeah.
Somebody in their world to your stuff that you do.
Definitely. Yeah, man, I think we've come full circle here. This has been amazing. Where can the people go to find out and learn more about you and Leadlift?
So I mean, they can find a lot. I mean, they can just type in Coach AK online or AK Qualker. I think I'm the only one in the world, really. You can find that in, but you can go to leadlift.com or LEADLYFT.com. I also own a company called The Next Right Move. So you can also type in The Next Right Move. That's my book and our consultancy where we do coaching.
Amazing.
Or you can just find me on LinkedIn. Easy to find me. I have a lot of courses on there, a lot of content there. And it's easy to find me if you just kind of type it in and Google it. Easy to find.
Amazing, man. This has been amazing. Hopefully we can have you on some other time. Maybe when you're done with all your trips and everything, we can come again and talk about some more stuff.
Okay, appreciate it, brother.
I really hope you enjoyed this podcast. I want you to go away and execute everything there is that you've learned. Now, one thing I will say is if you're in a position where you're ready to actually take things to another level, you want structured, clear guidance, you want a team that can actually help accelerate you, book in a chat with our advisors. Why? We can blow up your personal brand to attract clients begging to work with you. All you got to do is book in a chat with our advisors and we can help make it happen. Sound fair enough?